welcome. My name is Jocelyn and today we are doing my first Empties video for the year of 2020. I'm pretty excited. I've got a lot of products in here. This is my little Empties bin and it is, as you can see, overflowing. Most things in here are in fact Empties, but I do have a handful of things that were decluttered because I've used them enough to the point where they're, I think, expired, is what most of these are. And so I'm going to be going through them and just talking about some of my thoughts, whether or not I would repurchase them, what I thought about them, and all of that jazz. Again, here is a sneak peek of everything that's in here. There is some makeup, there's some hair care, there's some skincare, so let's get started. Right, let's pull off the first two things that are on top, and both of these are Olaplex products. I have a conditioner and I have a shampoo right here that I used up. I only use these right now in my shower because I historically have severely damaged my hair. I've talked about this on my channel before, and this has helped it so much. My hair is incredibly healthy. Part of that is using these products, and then part of it is trying to get my natural curls going on, so not heat damaging my hair as much. But I am currently using these in my shower right now and continue to love them and will continue to repurchase them if you were able to. And this is a product that you're interested in, I would try and see if you can purchase these at one of those salon stores that are discounted for professional hair stylists, because they can get kind of pricey, but if you can somehow get them from a store that sells to licensed professionals, I'd recommend it, because I think that alone they're $28 each, which is, I mean, worth it. I would purchase them for that price because they are that effective and helpful for my hair, but they are a bit pricey. So the claims on these is to repair, strengthen, and hydrate all hair types. I fully support those claims. All right, so those are the first two products. And I think that's the only... yeah, those are the only hair care items. Let's move on to some skincare items. The first of which is this First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream Intense Hydration. I know that a lot of people really love this. It wasn't my favorite. It just didn't really do a whole heck of a lot for me. I did get this sent to me. I did not purchase this, but I did get it sent to me from Acrylic. And although I was grateful to have used it, wasn't my favorite. If you're someone who suffers from extremely dry skin, this might be something that works for you. I know that some people have claimed that it really helps their, what is that condition? Usually it's on the back of the arms. I cannot remember, but it's helped some skin conditions, and it also helps with super dry skin. It just, I didn't really love it, so I wouldn't repurchase it. Next is another product that was sent to me by First Aid Beauty that I used up. This is the Pure Skin Conditioning Eye Makeup Remover Oil. Well, it's sort of an oil. It's oil-free, but it's like an oil. I don't really know how that works, but I did use this up. I did actually really enjoy this. I, for most of my life, used an oil to take off my eye makeup, and then something else to take off my base makeup, and then a cleanser to really get in there and clean everything off. I have since stopped using an oil on my eyes and just have used a cleansing balm to take off all of the makeup on my face, and I just find that that's one less product that I have to purchase, and the makeup balms that I have found and have been using work really well to take off my eye makeup. So although I like this, and if you're somebody who likes an oil to take off your eye makeup, this one works pretty good. I like this one, and I also like the Paula's Choice one, but again, I haven't been using them, so I haven't been purchasing them. But now that I think about it, I think that this was more expensive than the Paula's Choice one, and they both work about the same, so I think that I would purchase the Paula's Choice one over this one, but this one did work well. Ooh, next is something else that I will not be repurchasing. This is the Sunday Riley Martian Mattifying Melting Water Gel Toner. This was something that I really loved for a long time. This is designed for oily and acne-prone skin, and although it was really effective on my skin and I saw really good results, somebody pointed out that this had fragrance in it, and I'm trying to move away from purchasing skincare products with a bunch of fragrance. Also, this is very expensive, so I'm not too sad about not wanting or allowing myself to repurchase this. Also, Sunday Riley kind of has some shady practices, so I'm not sure how much I will be supporting them in the future anyways. I don't think that there's anything in their line that I am like ride or die for, so that's not really a problem for me, and I will not be repurchasing this. But I will say that I saw results but it was probably also damaging my skin in the long run. So it's yeah, there you go. Ooh. Just a handful more skincare products we will, oh my goodness. Just a handful more skincare products that we'll finish up before we move on to the makeup, and there's a fair amount of makeup in here. I'm really excited. The first is this Kopari deodorant. This is not an antiperspirant, it is a deodorant, and I really enjoyed this. I would consider purchasing it again. I did go back to an actual antiperspirant after I watched Jen Love's Reviews video on the difference between antiperspirants and deodorants and how maybe antiperspirants, although they're not like the best for you, they're not as bad as everybody was making them out to be. I think that I would like to go back to not using an antiperspirant maybe during the summertime, but I do get very sweaty and I don't love sweating, and especially under the arm area. But I did like the way it felt to not be so clogged up under the arms. I know that she had a different one that was her favorite that wasn't the Kopari one. I can't remember what it was, but I'm interested in trying that one out. But I did really like this. I liked the smell. I liked the way that it felt under my arms, but I did notice, now that I'm remembering, it's been a while since I used this up, I did notice that I had to reapply this like halfway through the day. If I put it on in the morning and I was doing more activities in the later afternoon or evening, I needed to reapply this or it wore away and I started to smell, and nobody wants that. So I did have to reapply this, and I don't have to do that usually with regular deodorant. So there was that, but I would consider repurchasing this because reapplying it's not that big of a deal. I think just two more things. The first is another product by First Aid Beauty. This is their Skin Rescue Purifying Mask with Red Clay. This is a peel-off mask. And I used to love this once upon a time, but the more that I used it, I actually had this in a project pan, the more uncomfortable I became using it because it's a peel-off mask. And I don't know if it was the age of this product in my collection or the ingredients or just, I don't know what was going on, but the longer I used this, the more uncomfortable I got with how the peeling made my skin feel. It was just very aggressive, and I was kind of thinking about how that's probably not very good for your skin to peel something off, and it just, I'd rather use a chemical exfoliant or a light physical exfoliant. Peel off masks I just don't think are the way to go, in my personal opinion. And in my own life, you might like them, and at one point I did think that this worked really well for me, but you know, like not so great. So I wouldn't repurchase this. And the last product is something that I would repurchase. This is a Drunk Elephant product. This is their Protini Polypeptide Cream. So at one point in time, I had been a very hardcore Drunk Elephant fan, and I repurchased their products time and time again, usually twice a year. And I have, over the last year, I've tried to find alternatives, things that are less expensive, primarily because Drunk Elephant is ridiculously expensive. So I've been trying out different items and using up the Drunk Elephant items that I have, and through that process I've found some good dupes for my Drunk Elephant favorites, and I've also found that I really love some Drunk Elephant products that I haven't quite found a dupe for, and this is one of those products. Again, this is the Protini Polypeptide Cream. This is like a moisturizer, and I really notice that after I use this, usually after a couple of days, or sometimes even after just the first use, I notice a difference in the way that my skin feels and the way that it looks, and it just makes my skin look youthful, radiant, clear. I really love this. I've never purchased a full size of this, and it took me a while to finally use the deluxe sizes that I had gotten from other kits that I had purchased, but I'm highly considering picking up a full size of this because I do really love it. If you know of any alternatives or dupes for this product, please let me know and I'd be happy to check them out. But as of right now, I have not found a moisturizer that I like as much as I like this one. Okay, so that is skincare wrapped up. Let's move on to some makeup items that I have either decluttered because they are expired and I've gotten my use out of them, even if they have some product left, or that I have fully used up. So I have some palettes on my lap that I have pulled out. The first one is the Too Faced Natural Eyes Neutral Eyeshadow Palette. I do have some product left in here, but this is one of the oldest palettes in my collection, and it's time has come. I think I decluttered this after a project pan last year. I do have pan in quite a few of these shadows, but the shadows were just performing not so good anymore, and I have a ton of neutral shades in my collection that I just didn't need to hold on to this anymore. This was probably 6, 7, 8 years old, which is very old for a palette, and I'm on a decluttering journey and a curation journey with my collection and didn't feel the need to hold on to this. So it is going. I don't think that I would repurchase the new version of this. I just feel like there are other neutral shadows that I would opt for before this one, and this was a good palette though. I'm not gonna lie about that. This was a good palette, but there are more exciting palettes out there that mimic this similar color story. Another one is the same exact story. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This is what the inside of my palette looks like. You can see that these 4 shades basically are unused, and then I've basically almost used up these 2 shades right here. This is another thing that was really old in my collection, and I just wanted it out. So I used what I could throughout last year of those 2 lightest shades, and at the end of the year I said, we're done, we're over, get out of my collection. So this is getting fully decluttered now. No, I will not pass it on to anybody if you're asking. It's well expired, well used, and happy to be gone. I have one more palette. This I'm not sure why this is still in here. I must have not talked about this yet in Empties, but if you saw my Pan That Palette finale, I think for last year, you will know what this is. This is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, and I deconstructed it because the palette held sentimental value to me. There are many other things I could have done with this palette, but I did pull off the outside casing and I still have that. And this is the inside with all of the shadows. I did depot some of the shadows. I have a little depotter. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I do have this little tool that I think you can find on a lot of single shadow retail sites, also Amazon. It's just a little depotting tool, and I just shove it in the pan and pop it out. There are a lot of depotting videos on YouTube if you want to learn how. I don't do it enough to feel comfortable filming a video myself, and that's literally all I do. I just take a tool like that, shove it underneath the shadow, and pull it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it did work in the case of, I think, these 3 shadows. I popped these out, but this is another case where the palette was just very old and I got my use out of it, and it's time to say goodbye. Ooh, something that I have used up, another Too Faced product, is the Too Faced Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. I did really like this, but given the controversial situations that Too Faced has found themselves in lately, I don't think that I would repurchase this, at least not at this time. I did enjoy this though, but there's a lot of setting powders out there that I have not tried that I would love to try out and see how I feel about them. I'm also currently using the Fenty powder and the Hourglass powder and really like both of those. So this was good. I liked this, but wouldn't repurchase at this time. Ooh, all right, I got a couple in concealers. The first is this NYX HD Studio Photogenic concealer. For some reason, I can't recall how I felt about this. If I'm remembering right, I think that I felt so-so about it. Given that, I don't think that I would repurchase this. There's a lot of concealers that I would love to try out and get my hands on, so repurchasing something that I just felt meh about doesn't sound like something I want to do. And I do have some concealers that I really like. So this was fine, not my favorite. And one that is the opposite of that I have very strong feelings about is the Kaja Don't Settle concealer. This is in the shade Sweet Rice. I really love this, love everything about it. It's not super full coverage, so if you like something that's super full coverage, super matte, this probably isn't going to be your cup of tea. This is more light to medium coverage and more of like a satin finish, and it doesn't crease on me at least, so I love that. The biggest downfall of this line is that there are hardly any shades, which is a huge downfall, but the formula itself is pretty great. Handful of products left. Let's talk about some lip products. The first is the NYX Suede Liquid Lipstick. This is a very old product in my collection, so there's still a little bit of product left in here, but because it was so old, I went ahead and decluttered it. This is in the shade Soft Spoken. I would consider repurchasing this. I really liked this formula and I really liked this color. I don't know if they have a ton of colors and shades in this line, but maybe I would consider purchasing more shades. I liked this. I liked this a lot. And NYX is a pretty inexpensive brand, so that's great. Next is another thing that kind of expired and I decided to declutter. This is one of the Bite lip crayons in the shade Rhubarb. I know that they recently reformulated this. I had a fair amount left in here, but I didn't feel comfortable using it because Bite has such natural ingredients and I didn't use it up in a timely manner. I went ahead and got rid of it. I also kind of learned that I don't love this specific formula, but I don't think that they make lipsticks in this formula anymore because again, they relaunched a bunch of products, or maybe all of their products now that I think about it, because they went completely vegan, which is great. So I'd be interested in trying more of their products, just not, well, I guess any of their products now, because they're not like this anymore. But I do need to be careful when I purchase from them because they're so natural and stuff. I need to make sure that I actually love and want to use up their products. Speaking of that, I do have another Bite product that I did use up and I currently have another of. It is their Bite Agave Lip Mask. You can see that I have fully used this up. I've used up quite a few of these. This is the lip mask that I use every single night and I love it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I personally really love it and continue to repurchase it. All right, we just got 4 products left. Here we go. The first is the MAC Fix Plus setting spray. I have had this for so incredibly long and finally finished it up this last year. Would not repurchase because MAC is not cruelty free. I know that Milani has a setting spray that I really want to repurchase, but I recently got one that's right there. You can't see it. From a BoxyCharm that I'm using. It's fine. Not great or anything, but I would like to try the Milani one, but would not repurchase this one. A mascara, the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. I almost butchered that name. Okay. This is a staple in many people's collection, mine included. I really love this and will continue to repurchase it. Really good mascara. I will say that if you've never tried this before and you've been kind of on the fence, this doesn't define the lashes as much as it volumizes and lengthens them. There's not a ton of definition included with this, but it does add a lot of wabam on the lashes. Lots of volume, lots of length. So I do like it for that reason. But if I want something a little more subtle, a little more defined, this isn't really a great one for that. But I still love it, tried and true. Ooh, next we have an eyeliner. This is the Ofra Verified Black Liquid Liner. I really like this. This is similar to the Kat Von D tattoo liner, which was one of my favorites. I did use this up. I used this quite a bit. There was something I didn't like about it and I cannot remember what it was. I think it was how black it was. I don't think it was as black as I wanted it to be, and I don't think that it stayed in place as long as I wanted it to, but it still was really good. I had really good control in the way that I like my tips to be on eyeliners, so I would consider repurchasing this. Well, no, wait, hold on. Currently, I'm really loving the Beauty Bakery liner, and I think that this actually might be my current favorite. This is their Lollipop liner. Really love this. I think that I would repurchase that one before I would repurchase. Oh, actually, you know what? I don't think I purchased this. I actually think that the Ofra liquid liner was sent to me through Octoly from Ofra. So I like this a lot, but I think that I have found a favorite above this one. Oh, and speaking of Ofra, our very last product to talk about today is the Ofra Eye Primer. I really like this, but I think that there are lots of similar alternatives at the drugstore that you can buy for a lesser price that are, again, the same. The Milani primer, I think, is actually the one I'm using right now. Yep, it's back there in my beauty box, and it works great. If I can spend way less money on something from the drugstore, I'm probably just gonna do that. All right, and those are all of my empties for February of 2020. I hope that you enjoyed. If you liked this video, you like Empties videos, don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe for future videos from me, don't forget to do so before you go. All of those buttons are down below. And I think that is everything I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.